President Bola Tinubu, 2 years are gone. Half of your constitutional mandate spent navigating the stormy waters of reform, resistance, and rising hardship. You came to office promising a renewed hope agenda, telling Nigerians that the pain would be temporary, like that of a childbirth, and that joy would follow. But 2 years in, the cries have grown perhaps louder, and many now wonder, when will the joy come? Inflation surged, food inflation went to an all-time height, transport costs were tripled, and the average Nigerian now spends more of their income just to eat, as if they are lucky. Petrol is hovering over 700 naira per litre, and electricity tariffs have risen even as supply is still very erratic. And yet, the Nigerian people, resilient, loyal, enduring, have held on. But holding on cannot be the national plan. You promised to lift millions out of poverty, create thousands of digital jobs in 24 months, and double power generation. These were not poetic aspirations. They were campaign commitments. Mr. President, time is not on your side. You have just 12 months before the political season begins to whisper again. If ever there was a time to show the fruits of sacrifice, it is now. You are the president of both your lovers and your loudest critics, the hopefuls who sang your name at the polls and the skeptics who prayed you will fail. But leadership demands maturity of mind and empathy of heart. You now preside over a fractured but hopeful nation. Good people, bad politics, and an ugly economy. Nigeria today is at a historic inflection point. Mismanage these opportunities, sir, and we risk descending into a cycle of unrest, disillusionment, and regret. But if you rise, Mr. President, to the moment, and you could become a defining leader, one whose name is etched in gold as a man who brought Nigeria back from the brink, you must ignore sycophants who clap in darkness while citizens cry in daylight. Mr. President, please urgently surround yourself with thinkers, doers, and patriots, not just loyalists. Every day must count. Every decision must deliver value. Because when a nation suffers this deeply, there is no luxury of time or ego. No more excuses. President Bola Tinubu, we in the media, we will do our own part. We will question, probe, inform, and hold you accountable, not out of hostility, but out of duty. The opposition must also rise, not just to criticize, but to push this country forward. Civil society organization must now organize, awaken consciences, and be the voice of the voiceless, and our people must now stop being docile. We need to raise a mass of active citizens who are willing to fight for their nation and also work hard for its good. Citizens, your voice counts. Don't lose it. And for those of us who believe and who are people of faith, we will pray, as scripture commands us, for the peace of the land and the success of its leaders. Because President Bola Tinubu, your success is Nigeria's success, and your failure will be our shared tragedy. Nigerians will rally behind you if they see sincerity, action, and result. But never forget, fury awaits any leader who mocks the pain of the poor. Sir, history is watching. Posterity is watching, and 200 million Nigerians are watching. Let this second half of your presidency be a turning point. Make us proud, President Bola Tinubu. Make Nigeria great. And that has to start now.
Brilliant words from Seun. Brilliant words. Good final word. You know, we want Nigeria to work, and we obviously understood that the success of our president will be for the good of all the entire nation. But before we saw the process that brought Bola Tinubu into power. And that's one of the biggest things a lot of us who are speaking up against this administration and calling out the rubbish they're doing every day. We look at the process and we say, the process that brought you was corrupt. How can you fix corruption? That's why I keep saying that I'm hopeful, but I can't hold my breath because I do not see Bola Tinubu as a person who can fix the nation. He didn't fix Lagos. He capitalized on Lagos to advance his cause. Politically speaking, that's good maths. But when you look at what is done in Lagos, what is happening in Lagos, as in position of himself in Lagos, it tells you that's exactly what he's going to do on the national front, exactly what he's shown you. It's exactly what he's doing. But the main point here is the fact that it is the process that brings you into power. That same process, that's what will sustain you. And there's no way you can fix Nigeria if the people that brought you in, the corrupt process and the corrupt people that help you become president, you have to feed that corruption for you to remain president. And that's one of the main reasons I keep saying that he cannot fix Nigeria. Plus his health as well. He's old. He's not a young person anymore. He doesn't have that strength to stay up all night, deliberate the Nigerian problem, as diverse and multiverse as Nigerian problem is. It cannot. It doesn't have that wherewithal to do it. So when you look at all of these old parameters, you know for certain that you wish the president will succeed, but you know, taking 2 years, because this is people make around the world, they make data-driven decisions, right? The data all shows that nothing has worked since Bola Tinubu became president. And not to talk about 12 months before election season start, and they've already begun this election season anyway early enough. That's why he's trying to consolidate power just so that he stays in power for 2027. That's why you see all this mass defection. So we're not talking about Bola Tinubu governing right now. We're not talking about Bola Tinubu trying to make Nigerians' lives better. No, we're not talking about. We're talking about Bola Tinubu trying to remain in power for his own personal gain. So if that's all there is about him right now, forget about the next 2 years. Everything, all the arrangement is get towards 2027, not about governance. Forget about all this sycophancy and this tokenized that comes on TV, like likes of Bayo or Nonegwal, Daniel Boala, that comes on TV to tell us that Bola Tinubu is doing the best thing since sliced breast for Nigeria. Forget about that nonsense. These are all talking points. If you look at all the parameters with which you use to measure the success of this government, whether it is in security, goods and services, the prices, food, healthcare, social amenities, job creation, in all of these parameters and all of these markers, is woefully failed. They promised that it will increase the number of G2G jobs. Nothing has happened. Nigerians are the ones creating jobs themselves. The National Assembly is even trying to regulate the social media space, and Nigerians spoke up against it. Remember the bill that Nedum Woko was trying to promote? That's one. Businesses have all left the country. Big businesses are leaving the country in mass, and then businesses are failing. And people are not getting jobs. Unemployment is on the rampant. Poverty is increased in Nigeria. Children cannot feed. Feeding in Nigeria has become a luxury under this government. And then they tell us it has a transformative leadership style. And I ask the question, transformative in what sense? Upward or downward spiral? Obviously, the answer is downward spiral. So this is a transformative disaster we're faced with right now. So again, like I said, I'm hopeful with these words that Seun said because they're properly and well delivered. But when you look at the direction which this government is going, you realize that it is nothing to look forward to, hopefully, under this government. Again, healthcare. The president can just travel out of the country for healthcare and say he's going to revise himself and check his administration and he gets treated. But Nigerians don't have hospitals to go to. Even when they go to hospitals, they don't have enough facilities or things to take care of people in Nigerian hospitals. So is that a government you're talking about? In this 2025, they're putting billions and billions for boreholes for communities rather than talking about how to deliver good pipe-borne water into people's homes. Can you see the craziness of this corruption within this government? That's why I said that I do not believe that Bola Tinubu has the wherewithal to lead Nigeria in the right direction. Look at how they inflated the 2025 budget. We're talking about 2 years assessment of the president, and right in our faces, they're padding the budget as well again. Putting projects we know they're phantom projects that will never see day of light. That's why I keep saying this government, including the National Assembly, they don't have the capacity to lead Nigeria in the direction Nigeria needs to go. We've been talking about electoral reform. Have you seen the president push for electoral reform? No. But when it came to tax, it did push for tax. Why? Because it benefits them. There's another pocket for them to steal money from. The more they can get from the people, the more it's good for them, and the more they can stash away in foreign banks. That's where I'm coming from, and that's where I'm going. You cannot be quiet. Joe said it. We cannot leave this work to the likes of civil society organizations. We cannot wait until 2027, 2 months to the election, for INEC to start sensitizing people, because INEC's not going to do it. All they plan right now is how to rig elections. As I see all these political defections and decampment, like Michael Zekome said. So it's for you and I to make sure that we have people who can lead us in the right direction. By the way, before I finish, elections have consequences. Don't take 2027 for granted. Elections have consequences, and they are serious consequences and dire through. Take it seriously. When you take bribes from these politicians, remember that bribe will go towards fixing your roads and your hospitals and give you pipe-borne water into your homes. Go and check most of our dams. They've not been looked after for so long. That's why the one in Niger broke and the people have died. And this same government will tell you that they're sorry and they will give people about palliatives. Disaster in Nigeria. So elections have consequences, especially for those in the most marginalized places of our nation, those people in the villages, in the hinterlands, those people suffering the most of insecurity, terrorism in their pleader villages. So stop taking politicians' money, those bribes, defend your vote in your villages. Make sure they don't use your place to rig the election next time, because that's what our politicians are doing. Take Edo State off-cycle election as well for one. A disaster of an election, but what somebody says is the most transparent disaster of election that we've ever seen in our nation. So take election seriously. Take 2027 seriously. And it counts, it matters. Now, put your thoughts in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Put your ideas and let us know how we can continue to sensitize more Nigerians as well and push this content out. But make sure you like, share, recommend this channel to others, and also be part of it. But remember, and subscribe as well. I'll catch you up in the next video as always. God bless you. Bye-bye for now.